enough probability that we lose
okay.
this. So it's
So you open this box. Take okay. So this is a mixer panel.
Sundar.
This is my personal amplifier.
okay.
You can use it.
Uh-huh.
This is 2 amplifiers from the institute.
Okay.
So each set of amplifiers is best operated with 2 speakers. So
Okay.
if you want to set up 4, use 2 amplifiers. If you only need 1 set of 2 speakers, use 1 amplifier. Otherwise, hooking up, you can also operate 4 speakers with 1, but it's more difficult to set it up. All right. Now then, so this is the back of it. So one thing that needs to be is that the amplifier needs to be connected to the speaker, or otherwise, for the output, you need to connect the speakers to the amplifier.
This is long enough for.
Okay, so this I think is about 10 meters. So this is all mine because we're using here our own band, right? I put myself in here, and so now, so that I think is very simple. You speakers and it gets the cables. Now, let me just sound.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No, it's a sound.
okay,
Not
so
simple.
then you have down here, and I think you probably want to use 2. Use the bottom one because I find it easier to connect. Now you see here it has different plugs compared to the one that I'm using here. You see down here.
Yeah.
And for this one, you need these speaker cables, and they're so-called speak-ons.
Right.
Okay, you
Yep.
connect those ones to the bottom amplifier. Okay, and then also these are the cables for another set of speakers.
The tall ones.
Not the tall ones. The,
Oh no, the
the small
Yeah,
ones.
the small ones.
Don't use the big tall ones. They're just tall. They're terrible in sound and they're not really good.
Right.
Okay,
So
so
in principle, we are using the 2 speakers because there are 2 small ones.
Wait a minute. The idea was we use this
Sound system here?
sound system inbuilt here,
okay.
not this one's. This one is basically for outside.
Okay.
But the question will arise like for these people, we need 4 microphones to attach and those things.
But I also think that if you want to have this go outside,
Yeah.
2 speakers, 1 amp is not enough.
Okay,
Okay.
2 amps, 4 speakers.
2 amp
Right.
and 4 speakers. Okay.
It's a big hall. You get a lot of reverb in there. In order to get sound and get the music across the hall,
This guy goes in there.
exactly.
Doesn't really matter. Input, huh?
Input,
Exactly.
exactly. Don't operate them in parallel.
Yeah.
So, just so that you know, so this is already basically set up, and this one you then need to connect and get the.
So where does this one go into one of these? All of them are equally same.
No, the bottom one, and
The
you
bottom
only
one?
the bottom one here. It's
Okay,
the only
so
one.
the
The
lock-
other one are XLR cables.
I see,
Okay,
okay, good,
so
yeah.
that only fits to the bottom one.
I see, okay.
Actually, it also fits to this one here.
But then we
But
are
then-
using the bottom amplifier.
Yeah, you're using the bottom one.
And if we want to use the sound system of the hall,
Yeah.
we from where do we connect?
From where you can connect it?
We can mix
could-
it board.
Through that station over there. I'll talk about
Okay.
this in a while. Okay. So now the next thing, once the speakers are connected, what you need to connect is the amplifiers to the mixing panel.
Right.
Now this one is already almost set up. So here you have your output, and you
Right.
plug this one into the main output. And this can actually also remain connected.
Okay.
And then there are XLR cables. So and these ones you use to connect
Mm-hmm.
the bottom amplifier
Mm-hmm.
to the mixing panel.
Right.
So and there you have here main outs.
Right.
Okay, so it's basically the same, but these are jacks and these are XLRs, and they connect to the bottom one.
Right.
All right.
And the bottom one, anyone can be used, or
Any XLRs?
There is only 2.
There's it's you can only connect it one way.
Okay, okay.
Okay, because it's a female and male
Right.
on one side.
Exactly.
So if that needs to go in there,
Right.
and the
Yeah,
bottom
yeah.
one then.
So here in there are 4, right? Here.
Exactly.
And we can use any of the 4.
No,
No.
that's
okay.
what I said.
Okay, there is a match.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, good. Got it.
And among
Actually,
these, like,
it's-
yeah, this one goes right, and
This one and this one goes in here.
exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
So we should connect 2 of those to 2 of those.
Exactly.
So just to make sure, actually, like this, we are using like 2 amplifiers, right?
Right.
So we're talking right. Exactly.
Use 2 amplifiers for 2 set of speakers.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So now speakers are connected to amplifier.
Right.
Amplifier is connected to mixing panel.
Mm.
And now what you only need is the microphones, and you connect the microphones.
they would देख ले
They
कहाँ
are
है.
lying here behind this board. They are color coded. There should be about 4 to 10 XLR cables. So
Right.
the microphones are also connected by
Right.
XLR.
Mm.
Self-explanatory. They only fit one way, and
You're
this
right.
always goes into the microphone.
Yes.
So you have 4 of these cables, and then there is coincidentally one microphone here.
Mm.
But now you guys wanted to have 4, so I have to check if there is actually 4.
Yeah. So and that simply connects to here, and this
Exactly.
one's all ready to go.
Great.
So we have a second one.
No, we have microphones, so
Okay.
it will not be a problem.
So
There's
anyway-
already
It's in case like it's there.
In case
Right.
they are all in here.
Right.
All
All
right.
the stuff you
And
want.
the corresponding cables also here for this.
So these cables I wouldn't necessarily trust. Some of them are broken. So if you don't hear a sound, right? That's why I said use the cables that are actually here
Right.
around. These are the ones that I just bought new.
I see.
Okay. And there should be 4. There might be a few ones more in another box. I'll try to
Right.
put them here too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ones that are colored, yellow,
Right.
blue, blah blah blah, are the new ones.
Right.
If you're missing one, I mean, maybe you can also provide
We
some.
have,
And yeah, exactly. So, and then in here there are some of them work, some of them don't.
Right.
Okay, and that's basically then it.
Where is
Now,
the electric connection? So
yeah, the electric connection is all a single one. That's the white one here. That's the
connects
only
everything.
one that you need to connect.
Yeah.
All them.
The entire box is connected
Right.
with this single cable.
Right.
All right, then, so the mixing panel has a power button here in the back. Depending on the microphones, you might know this. You sometimes need phantom power or not.
okay.
Here's also the phantom power button.
Okay.
Okay.
Which you don't want to use.
It depends on the
But
microphone.
with these guys, definitely not.
Oh, with these ones, not. With I have one which requires phantom. If you switch on the phantom power, it doesn't. These ones won't get disturbed,
Okay.
but a phantom power microphone won't work if you don't switch on the phantom power.
I guess all of us are SM56, 57.
Okay, so it's a regular one. Okay, good. Okay, that's about it. So then here, down, of course, you also need to switch on the amp. Power button here, power button here. Always make sure they're first low, and then typically you can operate them at maximum. That shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
The speakers, however, I mean, if you really over put it, you might break them. Okay, if you put out all the volume, but it's going to be too loud and it's going to be distorted. So,
Right.
so if you operate it at, let's say, 95%, like here, for example, that's perfectly fine, and all the speakers should be perfectly
than-
fine with it. Then, now every microphone has a gain input, and since you're probably operating them with similar settings, should be okay. What I typically tend to do is that all these buttons are out. This is a low band pass filter, so if you have a really deep voice, you might want to get away with the bass from that, but often, you know, you're singing away from something, so you don't need to cut away the bass anyway. So just keep those 4 similar, and then I would start probably just so with all these ones in the center, which is now basically giving you an equalization of your sound, depending on the hall and how you feel, how you need to penetrate the room and so on. You might need to pitch it a little higher, take away some mids, or cut away some bass. That's typically it. So often you find settings rather like this.
Just to
Yeah,
check.
that the bass is a little bit taken out. also the mids and a little bit of the highs in, and that should be
So
fine.
for your band, did you have anybody around who did it before? To
Yes,
just
we
okay,
have
just to
someone.
make sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you know how to take care of that.
I mean,
so-
I'm not I, but there's someone. who
Okay,
will do
good.
that.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So I mean, this would be good for voice, but then of course, you know, the guitars and
Yeah.
so on need to be
So
equalized,
synchronize.
and that I think that will do most of it for you. Then this is probably the most important button, the mute button. If you don't hear a sound, it's most likely because this one's pushed, and it will also light yellow.
Right.
So when it's switched on, this will be yellow, and that's
If
the
we
reason.
don't like some music, then we just switch them.
Exactly. Someone just goes here and you know you play terrible and it's gone immediately, right? Exactly. So, but we keep it
Yeah.
keep it on,
Right.
so that you have an easier start. You probably don't want any effects. You could also put there, you know, Hall, reverb, delay, but this would be all here on this button. But I don't think you need it. It's gonna be plain anyway. So, and then basically, since both of these amplifiers are connected to the main out, these are the only ones. So this is left and right channel, and that's the main output. And so if you have your microphone going and you put it like here and here, you should hear something depending on, you know, that everyone's switched on. And that's about it. That's about it. And everything else is simply then fine tuning. And I don't think that you need effects or anything that actually make this mixing panel so difficult to look at. But that's really the basics to get the sound out, and everything else you can then play around with it and try it out. But these are really the
basic things.
very basics, and that are also sufficient for something. I mean, we don't use anything else when we play. I mean, you have an extra, so typically keep this in. It's if there is a feedback, the system tries to deal with the feedback. You can put in also an equalizer. Here it's an equalizer. You see them here, bandpass filter equalizer, and you could optimize your sound. I don't think that you will need to do anything aside from this here, but
It's possible, no, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you just have to show me the
So,
the
we are
sound
not
system of the
using
hall.
this,
Yeah.
right? We are not using this in here.